One. My mouse wasn't in the right spot.
Well, I'm recording. Hi, guys.
Yeah, I managed. I think. Yeah, I'm recording.
Coot's countdown was 3, 2, 1.
Oh gosh. Have you checked out the Minecraft podcast?
I have not. Is it good?
I don't know.
Is it getting good?
It's getting good
Good
response.
reviews or
Good response and
response?
good reviews. It's weird because a lot of the response is you know, I really like Guude and all this, but
I really like Guude. That sounds like confirmation bias.
I mean, well, yeah, but what I'm going to say about that is like it's getting like 3 times the number of views anything I do gets, and like always people are like it's so good to hear Guude's voice again. Like, motherfucker, I've been putting out episodes, So a little bit upset, because it's like I ain't been dead. You can watch me other places in the podcast.
I do find it funny when somebody will like randomly get to one of these videos and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm so glad you started this up again. I used to watch you guys back in the day." I'm like, you just commented on episode 70 of the season that's been ongoing. Right. When you started it up again, it's been going for years at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, another podcast's been doing pretty good. But at the end of the last episode, we were talking about coronavirus because that's the only thing. By the way, don't put coronavirus in the title because YouTube just demonetizes that.
Really?
Yeah, you're not allowed to talk about
it. Wait, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense.
Well, what do you want? It's considered political. Nothing political can be monetized on YouTube.
Absolutely is not fucking political, YouTube. Jesus Christ. Political things can be done about anything, but this is a public health problem.
I guess you can't profit off of public health problems.
Oh my god! Like, oh, that's shit. If they okay. Anyways, moving on.
Oh, I'm glad how mad that made you.
It makes me extremely angry, but I'm naming this thing coronavirus / like COVID. Like I'm putting all the keywords in there. And,
I mean, you can. They're not gonna like take down your video. They're just not gonna put ads on it.
Oh, they will. They just won't pay me for it. Like,
yeah, that's actually probably the most accurate thing. So, anyways, we talked about this before that there's a cruise after Extra Life United that I'm scheduled to go on, and you were saying I probably shouldn't go, right?
Yes. I honestly think that cruises are the giant cesspool of clearly they've been spreading rampantly on cruises, so it gives you an environment where it's very easy to like have something like this spread. Do I think it increases your risk significantly? Absolutely. Even if you don't think you're somebody who's in the category who's going to get affected by it. I definitely think it increases significant risk. Yes.
Right.
Would I tell you not to go? Because honestly, if I didn't have kids, I might take advantage of some of the cheap rates you could probably get on cruises and stuff right now.
I mean, the rates are not any cheaper with Disney cruises. They have not affected their rate. I keep going and looking to see. In fact,
that's fucked.
Has it? Because other cruise lines, like one of the people in my Discord, Nola, was talking for 7-night cruises with a balcony leaving out of Louisiana, $60 for all 7 nights.
Yeah, because they are having. I heard an NPR story today where they were talking to people leaving out of port today on one of the cruises, and this NPR person was interviewing a bunch of them, and they were saying, so there's still a lot of people like going on these cruises. Like, this is the back and forth banter with the host. She's like, yeah, there's thousands debarking. On debarkation day, whatever they call it. And he's like, the what?
Is it disembarking?
Disembarking. Yeah, that's it. That's how I knew it didn't sound right when I said it. And she said that she talked to some of them who were some were not scared, some were scared, but they never get to take vacation and already had the time planned off of their work, and it was like they couldn't like really adjust it. And she said some I talked to were like, we got really, really, really good deals because of everything that's going on. We were not going to miss this opportunity to take this. And I'm like, you know what? I might be okay with that because, like you said, yes, it does not seem to be that our age group is the one that we're getting there. We're getting to the point where it would be us that gets affected. But right now, I still feel young and healthy enough that I'm not in the super susceptible category that I might take the risk for myself. But I don't think I could ever take the risk knowing that I have the kids that would then be without me if something did happen terribly. You know, that's where it gets to be like,
here's a couple things.
I told my wife that we can't, we're not going to Cherry Blossom Festival. We're not going anywhere near Cherry Blossom Festival in a couple weeks. Us or the kids, because there's so many foreign travelers that come for cherry blossoms in DC, which bloom in like 2 weeks.
Honestly, after seeing it last year, you couldn't pay me to go back that unless I lived like 2 minutes down the street
because of how insane it is. Well, and I do live 2 minutes down the street.
And it's just not anything. It's trees with blossoms.
Again, they're very pretty.
They're pretty.
That wears off very, very quickly. But there's so many people there that it is. I guarantee there's going to be people who travel who should not be traveling because it's probably been like one of their lifelong dreams to come see the cherry festivals or the cherry festival. And you're gonna have people who are supposed to be staying home coming from infected countries. It's going to happen.
Think so?
Yes, absolutely.
You think people travel from overseas to see those stupid flowers?
Guude, I've lived here for how many years? I've gone to the Cherry Blossom Festival numerous times. Absolutely.
That's wild to me. I can understand it if you're here, but to make a trip from overseas just for that purpose is wild to me.
I'm going to try to look up right now. Hold on. It's hard to I'm trying to think of what to compare it to, but I'm going to try to look up something about Cherry Blossom Festival to try to get an increased tourist number if I can find something here. But I'm not sure how that really shows in DC statistics. I never really tried to look it up before.
Like, I believe that people travel for this thing if they're already here, I guess. I don't think it's that.
People make trips specifically.
I mean, I believe you. I'm not saying I don't believe you. It just kind of blows my mind that because I don't know. Maybe it's just not for me.
Total year, this was 2018, it looks like. There was 23.8 million visitors specifically for Cherry Blossom Festival, which was 4.4% over 2017.
That's wild.
But I'm trying to get an increase of is it 23.8 more people that were here during Cherry Blossom Festival that are here during any other major event in DC? And that's why I want to have a comparison here.
Right.
For something, but I mean,
it was cool to see. I don't care if I ever see it again.
Visitor impact was $851 million in revenue.
Wow.
Local jobs supported 76,522. Without visitor revenue, DC would need to collect an average of $2,844 per year in additional taxes. Well, you know what? This is actually a sheet. It's talking about the cherry blossoms, but this looks like total visitor sheet now that I look at it. I want to see one specifically about cherry blossoms. So it's a page about cherry blossoms, but then it just talks about straight up about the visitors. So not just about the cherry blossoms.
While you're trying to figure that out, what I'll say about the Disney cruise is there's constant Disney cruises still happening currently. Like even the ship I'm going to be on is out right now. And the precautions that I feel like Disney is putting into this, I feel like it's probably greater than what other cruise lines are doing. Like the whole taking your temperature, listening to your respiratory functionality and stuff like that before you're allowed on the ship itself. Like seeing where your planes have been, like even connecting flights. Like if your plane has connected somewhere, even if you weren't on that plane, they won't let you on the ship. Like the list of requirements to even board the ship is pretty wild. And the fact that no other Disney cruise has had a problem. And I think because of these precautions that they're taking, I don't feel like it's a risk. In fact, I almost feel safer there than I do on the shores of the United States.
So this website I'm at, by the way, says that 1.5 million people on average come specifically for the Cherry Blossom Festival. So,
but from overseas, like from China or whatever,
1.5 million visitors. So when I was there, it was very, 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 very packed full of people, both foreign and domestic.
Right. I mean, yeah, I saw that too. I mean, you remember I camping last year and we hung out and all that.
Did we go to the Cherry Blossoms though?
Y'all didn't. Me and Renee and her kids and my daughter did. And then we
Oh,
met y'all
that's
after,
right.
remember?
That's right. Because I was thinking we didn't go to the. Yeah, we usually actually go and do something over at one of the Potomac Park, and we'll do like which is a little ways away from the Cherry Blossom Festival, so it's kind of on the outskirts of it, but there's still a shit ton of people there, and we'll do like some like camp out by the Potomac River. But yeah, I told her that no, there's just too many people, too much risk there. There's no reason to risk it. We've seen the cherry blossoms before. This year we can take off. Like,
Yeah. No, I think that's reasonable. Like my deal is, so Disney has said that they will refund. They'll give you a cruise credit. They won't give you a refund, but they'll give you a cruise credit. But I've been looking into these cruises for years, like 6 years at least now. And this is the first one that happened at a time that I had my daughter and was affordable.
could have
And
been more affordable. Could have been $69.
Yeah, like I said, Disney's not lowering their prices. I've checked it like every day just to see if anything's changed. I mean, not there's much I could do about it if it did. I've just been curious. Because like my flight to Orlando,
You could take your cruise credit and then rebook.
I could, but I need to spend about an additional $4,000 that I don't have. That's what I'm getting at. The cruises, every time I've ever looked at a Disney cruise, it's been about $6,000 for me and my daughter to go.
No. I'm saying, like, if they lower the price of your cruise, take your cruise credit and then rebook it immediately.
Right. So my mom was supposed to go on this cruise with us, actually. Like, this was all planned before she found out she had cancer and passed away and all that. So, like, this was all booked a little while back. And you know, she was part of that whole process. So that kind of throws a wrench in the things too. But but even if I did try to cancel now at this point and rebook it for some other time, like during the summer, I would have to come up with probably, like I said, an additional $4,000 to book the same cruise in the summertime.
Right. I get it. It's really funny.
Basically, if I don't get to go, I'm not gonna get to go, and I'm just gonna that money's just gonna go away. Basically, the $3,000 that have been spent at this point towards all of this.
When I'm giving the eulogy at your funeral, I will just say, if he didn't go on this cruise now, he would have died without going on a cruise.
Yep. My philosophy is that I'm gonna get coronavirus either way. I feel like you will too.
It's very possible.
I feel like the majority of Americans are going to get this.
It's possible. We'll see what happens. Let me look at the latest COVID map and see how much has increased today.
Well, that's the problem, is that map's not increasing because we don't have testing supplies. Like, I could have it right now for
it's increasing in DC, which is scary. It went from 1 to 3 to 5.
I mean, North Carolina just declared a state of emergency today, and that number's been 7 for a week now.
Well, that's interesting. God, it's gone up a couple thousand since this morning, though, the total cases.
But you'll notice China hasn't moved at all.
Yeah, China actually has remained very flat. Oh, Maryland now has 8 cases. Oh, they got another one, that means. DC's still at 5. North Carolina, you guys are at 7. Still just chilling at 7. As it stands now. My parents are cruise people, and they were actually supposed to go on a cruise like this week or next week that they canceled for a different reason. They just pushed back the dates to a couple months from now for a different reason before this whole COVID thing like blew up. And my mom said something like, she's like, I'm just not worried at all about going on a cruise, but what I'm worried about is the airplane to get to the cruise. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, the cruise doesn't scare me at all. I'm, glad we're not going in the midst of all this, but the cruise doesn't scare me. I'd be worried about the airplane going there. It's just an enclosed space. And I'm like, for one, I don't know how much transmission that they've been talking about in airplanes at this point. Like, it's all been like the big groups of people are on the cruises. But for two, I said, Mom, if you're really worried about the airplane ride, buy a fucking N95 mask and wear it on the plane for the 4 hours or whatever it takes. And then go enjoy your multiple day cruise if you don't think the cruise is going to be the problem.
Well, what I've heard is those masks aren't really that helpful.
I mean, I guess it depends. I don't even know if they know it, because technically, I thought it was officially airborne precaution that N95 masks are what you had to wear to protect from it. I mean, this is where things get really confusing, because like Ebola is a straight up contact precaution disease, but they went crazy, and like anybody who was an Ebola patient, it was airborne precaution, because they didn't want to take any risks.
Right.
So with this one, I'm pretty sure I thought they did say it was airborne transmission versus we're just trying to not take any risks by, making.
Well, what I read was that those masks are not going to prevent it pretty much at all. I don't know.
I mean, I haven't necessarily read that, but if that's the case, then all those positive people, so every healthcare worker is taking care of them, there's just no way to protect them? Or they have to be in like full biohazard suits?
That's what everyone in China's doing. It's the full suits.
Yeah, that's not what people here are doing from what I heard.
Well,
I don't know if that's right. I'm not saying. I heard in some states they're taking very significant precautions, and it's a significant amount of biohazard suits. I've heard that the cases around this particular area, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, they're not taking them that way. But my facility, so I'm not giving away anything here, because my facility, for a fact, as of this moment, does not have any of the confirmed positive cases. So I'm not like violating any, laws, because I'm not talking about anything I specifically have any knowledge of. This is just rumors and hearsay I've gotten from people who know of the facilities where these people are at and how they're treating it.
So if you had someone being treated at your facility, you couldn't talk about how you do the treatment?
We probably could, but I'm just saying, like, if anybody's, thinking I'm like skirting on some lines right now, I'm not even, because it's not even at my facility. I know nothing about it, like absolutely nothing about it. How
long do you think it'll be before there is someone at your hospital?
I mean, we're center of DC, and we are like number one hospital in the area. We're the largest, the biggest trauma center. Like, I can imagine it's not going to be long if infections keep going. I was actually surprised to see, so being an EMT in Maryland, in the neighboring state, we were straight up told all these precautions about, like, if you get a patient under investigation, is what they call it. Like, there's what hospitals you're supposed to take patients under investigation to if they meet the criteria. And amazingly, my hospital was not one of them, though. When you can transfer to my hospital, it is our burn center and everything. So if I took a significant burn victim or something, I do take them to my hospital. I never have yet, but that is what our protocol is. So it's not out of the realm of where I should go because it's in a different state. But it was one hospital in Montgomery County where I was at. There was one hospital at the time in Frederick, and there was one hospital that just got added to the list in Anne Arundel. And DC didn't have a hospital that they told us that we go to. So I don't know if mine's not equipped to, I guess it would be equipped to handle, but it might not be the number one line of defense they're telling people to go to.
I see.
But since we've had a couple suspected cases, though. We did have like 2 or 3 people last week, I know, that came in with enough symptoms that they did testing. But at the time, it was negative testing. So what's
that cost?
It's so, I don't even know. But like I said, it was negative testing. It wasn't testing for COVID itself, because I don't think the test was out yet when the ones I knew about that they were doing it for. Instead of testing for COVID, they would test for everything else that could possibly, those symptoms could be. And if you're positive for one of those, they assumed that's what it was.
Like, I was reading about testing, and like, after insurance, it's like $3,300.
After insurance?
Yeah.
And they're going to just charge the person out of pocket?
Yeah. That's what I read.
Seems unreasonable.
Well, I mean, isn't all of our healthcare like that?
A lot of healthcare is, but that seems to be a weird thing that the insurance companies would just be like, well, now that we have this test, we'll make them pay for it.
I mean, I think it's more if you didn't have insurance.
Well, if you have to also cover the portion that the insurance was covering, then sure, it's more. But why is there a portion insurance not going to cover in this type of situation?
I mean, because they don't want to pay for it. Isn't that how insurance works?
Yeah, but they're supposed to pay for. Yeah, yes, it is, which is a problem. And I'm not going to sit here and try to begin to understand insurance and the way they go. That sounds wrong. It's almost like so it's like the lady did apparently down the street from us. Right down the street from me was DC's first coronavirus pop-up shop.
What is it?
It was a lady who set up a little pop-up stand and was selling sanitizer and gloves and N95 masks for an extraordinarily price gouge marked up rate.
Gotcha.
And that person should die.
I'm trying to find out the exact cost.
Yeah, I hate it when I see people who straight up are taking advantage. And like, I understand if you want to make a little bit of a profit and you have like a bunch of boxes of gloves or N95 masks or something, sure, you bought them for 50 cents, sell them for $1, $2, $3. Don't sell them for $25 a piece. You know, that's.
The reason why is because people haven't met their deductible yet, and it's also like early in the new year.
Well,
so
if they haven't
we're
met
only
their
3 months
deductible,
in.
they have to pay all of it up to their deductible. I mean, that's not saying that test costs any more than any other test or that you're going to charge.
No, it does.
For
I mean, it still costs more. Like I can get tested for the flu, and I'll pay like $19, period, even though I haven't met my deductible yet. But for this, my deductible for the year is $5,000, so I would pay $5,000, I guess.
Or $3,300 if that's all it costs.
Right. Oh yeah, the cost is $3,270. So yeah, that's what I would have to pay.
So it's just the straight up cost of the test. So it's still an expensive test, but I mean, it doesn't mean that you're paying that outside of your insurance because your insurance might cover it as long as you've met your deductible at this point.
Right. I mean, it's kind of bullshit that I pay $8,000 a year for health insurance, then I still have to spend another $5,000 before it fucking does anything.
I agree. I have a big problem. I remember the very first insurance I got when I first got a job at Ford Motor Company, right out of college, and insurance was free. And I was upset. I didn't know enough at this time. I was young and naive. I was upset because my deductible is $1,200. So I was like, this is useless because I also never went to the doctor. So the one time I did go to the doctor, like the whole time I worked for Ford, I had to pay out of pocket because I hadn't met my $1,200 deductible. And I was just like, that's ridiculous. I have insurance. Like, it should be covering this stuff, blah, blah, blah. I didn't think about the fact that, well, shit, that's like $100 a month insurance.
Yeah.
Is what I always should think about that. I'm paying, for a while I've been paying $250 a month insurance. Granted, it was a family insurance, but, it's a lot more. Still with a X number of $1,000 deductible on top of it. And it's just kind of like, oh, yeah, I had it made at Ford. I had it made.
Right.
Just didn't know that at the time.
So honestly, if I got coronavirus, I couldn't afford to be tested, is what it boils down to. So I won't ever know if I have it because I can't afford the test.
But then if you go to the problem is if you go to the hospital, because like your local doctor's office ain't going to test you.
Right.
But if you go to the hospital,
the tests aren't readily available.
There's going to be so many other expenses that you have. You're going to blow through that deductible in no time. That $3,300 will be covered by insurance, but you just will have a significant medical bill that you'll never pay.
I'm just not going to go to the hospital. Like, is what it boils down to. Like, when I get sick, I don't go to the hospital because I can't afford it. And this will be no different than any other time I get sick.
Well, that'll be
basically. I mean, that's what I do. I know that's probably not what you do because you work at a hospital, but like, I just don't go to the doctor when I'm sick because I can't afford to.
Oh, I also don't. I haven't gone to see my primary care doctor for any ailments that I've had in years. I don't even have a primary care doctor right now. The last time I was sick enough with something that I decided I needed to go to the doctor, I had just started nursing. So we're talking 10 years ago at this point. And I went to the emergency department, not to sign in as an emergency department. I walked in to one of the docs that I worked with and I said, hey, I think I have strep throat or something. Can you check me out and prescribe me something? And he looked at my throat and goes, go get me the prescription pad. So it was just like doctor doing me a favor,
right?
Not a visit to the doctor.
I wish we all had that.
And I don't have that. I haven't gone to see a doctor in a while. And I've been sick to the point where I've missed like a day or so of work because I was vomiting and stuff. I just never bothered to go to the doctor about it. I never was sick to the point where I felt I needed outside help that I couldn't otherwise get on my own. I've been lucky in that because there's sometimes when you're just sick with something major, if you can't stop throwing up, you might need IV fluids because you are getting so severely dehydrated that it could be so detrimental to you.
Right.
It happens to people young and healthy if they just.
I mean, that happened to me this last year. Actually, me and my daughter both were vomiting constantly, and whenever I went, they wouldn't let me leave until I took an IV of fluid.
Yeah, so that can happen, and I've been lucky enough to not have it that bad at any point because I haven't had to go do that. But obviously, it can also be 10 times worse, and it can be like you need some significant medications and stuff, like significant amounts of antibiotics IV, otherwise you're going to get an infection and sepsis and die. I've been
Right.
lucky to not have that stuff as well, so I've been able to get away with not going and seeing a primary doctor or having to go to the emergency department and like actually check in as a patient and all that stuff. But not everybody can be that lucky. And the thing is, and that is also the thing, I would probably never know if I really had it either, as long as it doesn't kill me and get me like really destroyed, because I would be like, well, shit, I have the flu. I probably have coronavirus, I'd say in my mind, because, you know, that's what you say in this day and age when, you know, it's all that's on the news and everything. And I'd be like, well, hopefully I feel better in the morning. Night night.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure I would do the same thing.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like that's going to be the case with a lot of people, and so I feel like it's
Well,
going to
and then I'd
spread.
go to work and interact with some patients for some odd
Right.
reason, and they would all die, and nobody would know why. And
I mean, that's what's going to happen. Like, people are going to go to McDonald's and get coronavirus, basically.
Yep, they are.
Because I mean, if someone's sick, they can't afford to not go to work. I mean, that's something that's already happening, where people are being told they need to self quarantine, then they literally go to work the next day.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought was going to get announced today, that they were going to somehow make it so like the government was going to pay for any sick time anybody had to take, because that's what was talked about at that press. Did you watch that stupid press conference yesterday?
No.
It was basically a lot of, we don't have any answers right at this moment, but tune in tomorrow. We're talking about doing a lot of things. And
Well, that was the press conference today too.
Well, today was the one where he talked about, you know, the 0% federal tax or whatever, right?
Right.
Well, I thought he was going to announce today. I didn't watch today, so I thought he was going to announce that, you know, they were talking about what are they going to do. People don't want to miss out on work, and he wants to make sure Americans don't have that fear. So I thought it was going to be announced that we're going to cover everybody's like sick leave.
I don't see how we could even do that.
I don't see how I can do a 0% tax. You can't take away the money from Medicare and Social Security. And I'm not as worried about Social Security, but that's because I'm not an old person relying on Social Security at this point. But old people.
Well, we'll see. What's funny about that
relying
is
on Medicare is something completely different, because if you don't fund Medicare, then the hospitals like that I work at don't get money from all the Medicare patients that we have, and then they can't afford to have me anymore, and then I don't have a job.
what's funny is Mike Pence said the first day about this is that when I was just talking about that the cost, that's one of the first things it says is Medicare and Medicaid will cover 100% of any testing procedure. But I don't know how they're going to do that whenever Donald Trump wants to cut the funding.
Right. And that's the thing, is you can't cut the funding of that and expect hospitals to still be able to survive, because then Medicare and Medicaid can't pay the hospitals, and therefore the hospitals can't stay in business.
It's funny to me. We have a presidential candidate that wants to give Medicare for all, and then we have a president that wants to defund Medicare completely. just till the end of the year, though.
While still saying it's going to pay everything.
Well, he hasn't said he's going to pay for anything.
No,
well,
it's going to pay for 100% of
things.
Right.
Yeah. No, I don't know. That's why I don't have any faith that America's prepared or will handle this situation in a way that doesn't lead to 99% of people. If you're a normal person that goes about your day in a normal way, I feel like you will get this virus.
Well, and this episode,
with it at least.
This episode comes out in either 4 or 5 days. I have to look at the schedule and see when I'm supposed to go from the day we're recording it. So we'll see what the numbers look like at that point, right?
Right. It's as of this recording, it's what, 880 cases in the United States. But I still feel like that number is so far off. I feel like it says there's 7 in North Carolina. I would believe if you told me that there's actually 5,000 in North Carolina.
The U.S. right now, 972. Actually, we're about to break 1,000. Man, we're hitting the record.
Wow. Yeah, earlier today when I looked, it was 880. So they're going up by another 100.
Yeah, it's total cases now is 118,745. When I looked this morning, it was 115. So there's been over 3,000 cases today that have been officialized, however they do that.
Yeah. No, and I think a lot of what's happening right now with holding the testing, stuff like that, is it's just a lot of it is holding out to try to save the stock market. I feel like that's the majority of focus currently, is not talk about it, hope the stocks don't fall too far.
Profit?
I mean, yeah, basically. So I don't know. I but I guess I still am not worried. Like I say all of this, but I'm still not worried about myself. I'm worried about the state of our country, the state of the economy, the state of the people that are susceptible to this. But from like perspective of my family and myself, I feel like we will all be fine, except for my grandma. But she wants to die, so I cannot deny her right.
I do wonder how my parents are going to fare, though.
Right. I mean, well, your parents want to go on a cruise, so they don't care.
True. That's true.
Don't worry about them.
My dad's not in good enough health to survive something like coronavirus, though.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think
my mom probably is. My dad, I don't think he'd make it.
I mean, I haven't heard anyone talking about the fact that China's been shut down for weeks now. Eventually, all the factories in China being shut down is going to make a big difference in the whole. Because I mean, globalization and all, like these things are going to matter at some point. Like we haven't seen the effects of that yet, but it's coming
soon. Yep, it is. I mean, we're already talking about not being able to get enough computers at the hospital to replace ones that we need to replace to keep functioning on some units because we have so many of the components are made in China that there is an inability to get the computers that we need. Wow.
That's crazy. I mean, I think that's just the one of many things that's going to, like, medical supplies. A lot of medical supplies come from China. People don't realize this.
Yeah, nobody realized how much shit came from Puerto Rico until the hurricane hit there in the medical industry. Holy crap!
Right. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of effects that we're gonna see that don't just directly relate to, the people getting sick. It's the whole country shutting down. I don't know. I think we can see the stock market go further than it's been in a very long time. Like housing market, nothing compared to what we have coming. So I don't know. I mean, I know people were crazy around here before there was even a confirmed case. Like I couldn't get stuff at Costco. And now since there has been confirmed cases, I don't know what it's like in DC, but it's like every day's hurricane season. Like I go to the grocery store and there's no bread.
Yeah.
There's still no toilet paper. I went to order toilet paper on Amazon a couple days ago because I'm like down to 3 rolls. And the toilet paper I normally get is double the price right now on Amazon. It's $50 for 18 rolls.
Yeah, the toilet paper thing's weird. We bought toilet paper. We did a Costco trip. Like, we did our own stocking up trip of just, hey, we need stuff. Let's make sure we get it before things go crazy. If they go crazy, and then we stocked up on a lot of alcohol. Like we got lots of wine and lots of liquor and stuff, just in case. But we coincidentally bought toilet paper, not having any thought process that toilet paper was going to be like some weird hot commodity. So hopefully that'll last us for a little while because we got it from Costco because we were running low.
I just think that's wild to me because, I mean, I don't know. When I went to Costco, like I said, there was no confirmed cases. I wasn't going to stock up for coronavirus. I was just making my normal damn trip. And then I got there and there wasn't anything to get.
Yeah, I should go back and see what it looks like now because I haven't heard of anything going crazy around here since there's been a confirmed
They
case.
put out a public service announcement in Washington State that said we have no non-perishable food items.
Apparently Washington State's been advertising very heavily for the bonuses that they'll pay for travel nurses to come out there. And I'll be honest, that's tempting. It was like $4,000 a week bonus pay to go out there to be a travel nurse right now.
Jesus Christ, you need to be in Washington.
And I'm just like, wow, like on top of your pay, like you're there for a month, you're getting $16,000 in a month in a bonus pay.
That's absurd. Yeah, why are you go?
Yeah, that's where I should be.
I can't believe you're not considering this like heavily.
Well, it didn't come to me directly. One of the people I'm precepting for was telling me about the messages that she got about it today.
That's crazy.
I was like, man, if I didn't have kids, I would seriously contemplate this right now. Hell, maybe my wife would be like, yeah, it's fine. It'll be worth it.
Yeah. You last like 3 or 4 months. I mean, that's almost like some percentage of that $1 million to $2 million they need or whatever it was. I don't remember now. You got a lot of bees over here.
I'm trying to keep them going.
Do you still have some in the beehive?
Yeah. There's a couple over there that have been being bred.
Nice. All right. Well, we should wrap this up here.
All right, everybody.
Don't get sick, y'all. Please watch our videos.
And tell us if you have the virus.
And if you have to stay home, watch all of our videos and like click the ads and watch them twice and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And make sure you comment about how you didn't know that we were doing this, how it's the first time seeing it, and how my inventory makes your eyes bleed.
Yep. All right. Thanks, guys.
See it.